Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to welcome you for the third session of the SEO Next Gen. So my name is Hubert Cartier. I'm one of the co-founders of Universum, and it's a pleasure today to host the webinar. And it will be a very nice case study with Mega, one of our customers today. So I would like first to check the sound. So could you send a small message if the sound is okay, if you can hear me well? So that after we can continue the discussion and present to Gaetan and Corentin who will do the webinar. So the sound seems perfect. So let's continue. And so I will directly give the word to Gaetan. So our main contact at Mega who will present himself. And that's it.
Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to be invited by Universum as a guest today to present Mega, the company I've been working for the past 3 years. Mega is an energy supplier, and I will tell you a bit more about our company in later slides.
And now, Corentin.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you in this webinar. I'm SEO consultant at Universum since almost 3 years. I've worked on a lot of different projects in B2C, like, for example, Delvo, and also in B2B, like ETEX and so on, a lot of different other clients. And I work for Mega since 2019.
So thanks for this short introduction. So I would like to start directly with the agenda of the webinar. So we will start with a presentation of who is Mega so that we have a better understanding of the context. And after Corentin will explain how we started to work on the SEO of Mega nearly 3 years ago. And we will insist after that on the synergies between SEO and SEA. So there was a big campaign for the rebranding campaign 1 year ago, and we will see the collaboration and synergies between SEO and SEA before going to the next steps of SEO for Mega as a challenger in the energy market. So, before to start, just a small introduction about Universum. So I co-founded Universum nearly 10 years ago with 2 co-founders, and now we are a team of 30 people doing digital marketing around, I would say, different pillars of expertise. One being digital strategy, and after SEO and content marketing. The second one is about online advertising like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on. And finally, web analytics to measure the return on investment, but also understanding the behavior of your consumers on your website or mobile app. We work for many customers like Mega. Really proud to do that for almost 3 years, but also for nice names like Leonidas, MediaMarkt, Yves Rocher, The Bet, Belrose, Delvo, and Barry Callebaut, or many others. So it's a good bunch of customers we support on their digital marketing and increasing their maturity thanks to digital. And small pictures of the team. So it's always at the end people that will make the difference. And this is what will be also explained during the webinar today with a good collaboration between Mega and Universum. So the best is now that I give the floor to Gaetan so that he can explain who is Mega and the scope of our collaboration.
All right, thank you, Hubert, for the very nice introduction to this seminar. Today I will talk to you briefly about Mega. So Mega was founded in 2013. It was founded by 2 Belgian entrepreneurs, Michael Corré and Thomas Koene. They're both still 100% working for the company today. Today, Michael Corré is our CEO for the French market, and Thomas Koene is our CEO for the Belgian market. Together, they are the CEO of the Belgian group, of the Mega group, my apologies. Mega stands for same energy, just cheaper. This means that we are trying to shake up the market and to provide energy at a cheaper price than it has been before we were there, because our founders, they created the company overnight. They got together and they were thinking, energy is so expensive today and nobody's trying to break the price here on this market. So we need to do something about this. And we want to provide a good balance between green energy and a cheaper price. So Mega, how have they grown? They've always gone for a multi-channel strategy, meaning that we're working with our inbound sales team. They're doing great work to convert all the leads that we're getting in. We're also working with some partner companies. Think about website pricing comparison websites, even door-to-door sales agents, even some telesales. And of course, the digital side is a very big part of our company. That's why we're also created the partnership with Universum, because they're bringing a lot of knowledge and experience to our team. Within Mega, I started within this company about 3 years ago. And what you could really feel from the start was that we are hungry for milestones. So when I started, we had about 50,000 customers. And within the company, everyone was talking, okay, we need to reach 100,000. And then once we reached that, shortly after, the next goal was 200,000, 300,000. And now we're really proud that we reached over 500,000 customers. And the next milestone, because we're always hungry for new milestones, is actually to have more customers than Ascend. We're about 30,000 short to overpass them. So we're hoping probably either at the end of this year or Q1 2021, we should be bigger than them. And that will be a great achievement, because that will have shown that Mega has grown from a startup company to actually a really strong energy supplier on the Belgian market, who has been able to settle themselves between the big five that we know, being Engie, Luminous, Ascend, Eneco, Lampiris. And we would really want to settle ourselves between them. As I said before, we're really challenging the market, and you will see this in our next slides, that we're really trying to change things and disrupt behavior within this market. We're very proud that since last year, we have opened up activities on the French market. And today we have about 80,000 customers in France, and we're hoping to see the same growth as we are having in Belgium. And therefore, we're using a quite similar strategy as we are in this country. Here I will show you an ad that we created about a year ago. And I will ask Hubert to launch this ad for us.
Yes.
Thank you, Hubert, for launching this ad. So as you can see, it's quite a different ad that you may have seen in the past on TV. This ad was only shown on the internet, not on TV, because of costs of airing on TV. You will probably feel that our competitors, they tend to speak about a greener world, green energy, etc., a better world. It's all amazing and green. Whereas we tend to have more of a realistic approach. We see with our customers that in the end, yes, they want green energy. That is something we're providing to them. But moreover, they want the cheapest price, because in the end, electricity is electricity. There's not much difference between providers. So if we can provide the cheapest price, they will come to us. And that is what we're really trying to show with these ads. And we've been working with Universum to create as much strength with these videos by reaching out to as many people as we could. And I think we can say with quite a bit of pride that we reached more success than we actually hoped for with these ads. They were very successful, and still to this day, people remember these ads. They've had a second run now more recently. And people come up to me and say, hey, I've seen your ad. Maybe some people in the audience will say, hey, I've seen it. Maybe you can say it in the chat if you've seen it and you remember it. That would be cool. I'll share it with our marketing team, and I think Universum will appreciate it as well to know that people know this ad. And if I move on to the next ad, next slide, my apologies. About 2 years ago, our company had grown very strongly. We reached about 200,000 customers, and we were at a crossing road, and we had to decide how we're going to grow further. On the one side, we decided to change some things with the channels we were using, but also we wanted to use more of the digital world and be stronger in that side, because we knew that there was a big market to go find there. We had a marketing team of about 3-4 people, but we felt that we needed an extra partner there who could. That's why we reached out to Universum. With them, we found a partner that was really willing to understand our market, who was going to collaborate very closely with us, and which they are to this day, and I'm very proud of. We have regular meetings. We share a lot of ideas. We test those ideas together. And we have actually, to this day, we have some project running for the future, and we have very happy to make this collaboration last for a long period of time. And I believe now Corentin will tell you a bit more about our collaboration, what they have done with us, and where they have brought us to this day.
Just before that, Gaetan, there's a question from Nabila saying, as a client of Mega, I was wondering what are the reasons why Mega decided to name and compare the competitors as a marketing strategy? Because I could say this is challenging, you are a challenger, but this is quite an approach interesting to discuss.
Exactly. Well, the main reason why people change energy supplier is because of the price. So that's why it's very important to name those competitors and to actually show the price difference that we have. If you go on our website, it's one of the first things that you will see. You will see the big 5 presented there, and it will show how much you can save up at Mega for a similar type of product. And that is also something that we're using in our ads today as a challenger. We're trying to trigger our customers, because of course they know NG, they know Eneco, but only 7 out of 100 people know Mega. So we really need to use their awareness so that people know that we're talking about an energy market and that we're cheaper than what they know.
Thanks, Gaetan, for the answer, and I will leave the floor to Corentin.
Yeah. So I will just globally explain you how we work at Universum with the SEO. So we use a specific approach for optimizing organic traffic. It's divided in 3 phases. Do not worry if some phases are not fully clear. I will give precise example later. So first, there is a diagnosis phase where we focus on analyzing the SEO landscape of our clients' business. We search for the important keywords linked to their businesses to be sure to see the big picture and to take the best possible decision. We also analyze the way their main competitors are ranked. In this phase, we also check the health of their website according to the 3 pillars of the SEO, so content, technical, and backlinks. And we give them precise recommendation with prioritization, and it's really important. As it's sometimes hard to transform this recommendation in precise actions, the second phase, the optimization, is also really critical. Thanks to a specific follow-up and precise examples, we help their inside developer or their web agency to implement everything step by step. So our audit will have a real impact. And trust me, it's probably one of the most difficult things to do. Finally, the growth phase is more a bit like a virtuous circle. We continuously try to improve the SEO. We check the organic traffic evolution, and if it's positive, where the optimization were done, we go further and focus on more complex objectives. That depends on the new trends, of course, if they are impactful. After that, we repeat the process. It's as simple as that. Not as simple, but trust me. As the SEO is an ever-changing expertise, and as the competition is always working from their side, there are always things to improve, always. So now I will illustrate quickly these phases with Mega. To remind you the context, the project was signed 2 years ago, so we really had the opportunity to go through all the different steps together. So the collaboration started in 2018. To be transparent, I wasn't at this time involved in this project, and that was one of my colleagues of the SEO team who started it. And I've mentioned it earlier, but the start of the diagnosis phase starts always with the semantic analysis. The purpose of this semantic analysis is to find the most important keywords for a client. People can use a lot of different words inside the search engines to find what they want. For example, they could type cheap energy or best energy supplier to find Mega. We want to find the best ones, so the ones that are searched a lot, and so that can lead a lot of people on their website. It's basically SEO. The point is really to find the good balance between how many people a keyword can attract and the difficulty to be in the first position, because there is a lot of competition in the energy sector. For example, as Mega is a challenger compared to some big competitors, at least it was the case, we might not always focus on the top search keywords that are already competitive, like I said, but we can focus more on low-hanging fruits. To do that well, we use a specific file that you can see on the screen that gives a lot of information, like the number of searches each month, how much the keyword is competitive, a global score of interest, the position of our clients, and also of its main competitors. I repeat it, but that's really a file that is central for all our optimization, but also for our clients. Mega's team still use an updated version when they write articles and optimize content. Other thing, we also check technically the website to be sure all the pages are accessible for user and Google, and a lot of other stuff, but it's not the point of this webinar. Thanks to the semantic analysis, we know which keyword and which pages need to be reworked, or even sometimes created. We start the optimization of all these steps just after. So for Mega, for example, we knew we had to optimize the structure and some on-pages factor, for example, the URL, titles, meta description, and so on. It is not advanced SEO and far from things that are popular right now, like, for example, Python script and auto-generated content with IA, but it works and it has a real impact for our clients' traffic. Another thing we try to do at Universum is to propose formations. We are convinced that the more the clients understand what we do, the more they will be able to go further. It is also great to let them internalize the most day-to-day task. For example, writing optimized content, where their business knowledge mixed with the good SEO basics can make a real difference. On our side, we still work on the most complex and strategic task where we can bring our expertise. And of course, after all this optimization, we try to analyze the results to be sure that it is evolving well. You can go to the next slide, Hubert. It is the only way to know what will be the next action, and so to start the growth phase. It helps us to answer to questions like, do we have to continue the optimization on the already optimized pages? Basically, is our work working? Or can we work on other keywords and on more advanced possibilities? You have here a basic example of ranking evolution that shows the evolution of the position in Google after some month. Spoiler alert, the work of my colleague was working quite well. So it's really basically how we work at Universum. I will let Hubert take the words to see if you have any question.
No question so far. There is still a last question, sorry, just now, Corentin. Would you say that SEO and SEA is one of your main best channel? It's maybe more a question for Gaetan. Maybe if you can answer, Gaetan.
Yeah, no worries. Yes, indeed. The SEO and especially the SEA are one of the top 3 channels that we have. They're very important to us. That's why we put so much emphasis into this channel. I won't say how many contracts we're bringing in, of course, but we've seen an enormous growth over the past 2 years, actually 2-3 years, in this channel, because we've really gone from basic knowledge in digital marketing to actually, if I may be honest, experts in these channels, and that has really paid off.
Okay, Corentin, there is another question for you.
A lot of tools. I can give you a name. It's the same, but honestly, we use a lot the keyword planner. It's one of the easiest tools, even if it's become harder to find the search volume because Google is hiding a lot of information. Sometimes you have to be to be smart. For example, we use the search console, even it's a bit tricky because it's only the search volume we have on the website, but it helps us to know if the search volume given by the keyword planner is right or not. We also use other tools like, for example, SEMrush or no, not Uncrawl, it's not for that, but right, yes, SEMrush, it's also a tool we use. But from my side, there is no better tool than others. It's really the work we do with the information we get.
Okay, what I propose is that we continue to explain the synergies between SEO and SEA with the content of the presentation, and after we will come back to your questions at the end if we have time.
So here you see a few ads that we have here. These are ads that are running on the internet. As you can also see, maybe for those who knew us since the beginning, is that we actually did a rebranding about a year ago. We rebranded the logo, we rebranded our ideology, our aim of the company. We really went for that price hunter ideology that has really taken off. We can see in the campaign. And we go to the next slide. That is working. So what we really felt that was needed with the rebranding campaign is actually work on that awareness. As I said previously, about 7 out of 100 people knew us. That is very low compared to the big 5 within the market. So we really needed to work on that awareness stage. And we did this through working with both offline and online marketing to actually boost that awareness, because we knew that once you have much more awareness, you're able to create much more conversions. And that has really been paying off. And we need to thank Universum, who has been the expert in creating that link between the offline and the online world. And Corentin will explain to you a bit more about this part, how we did this.
Yeah. So you can go to the next one, Hubert. Just to give you a bit more context, the SEO was not central to this rebranding campaign, as the main priority was really to retarget customers touched by an awareness campaign and to attract customers also thanks to search ads. However, we knew that organic optimization could have an impact and that we could improve the results of the campaign. First, we plan to optimize the website technically again. We were in a growth phase, and the last technical check was more than a year ago. And during this time, the SEO has evolved and the website changed. A quick technical check is never useless to be sure all the pages are accessible with no blocking factors, especially before a big rebranding campaign. We could also optimize the content according to the USP cheap energy that was now far more central for Mega, but also a bit more on other like sustainable and so on. All these steps were really consistent with the growth phase. Go deeper in the optimization after a first phase on more general keywords. So even in this more advanced phase, when a dedicated strategy is needed, it is useful to restart with the basics and rework the semantic analysis. You can go to the next one. First, to see if some keywords search volume has evolved and to see how the competition is doing. To be clear, the number of people searching, for example, for electricity provider can change drastically. Regarding the season, it won't surprise you, but there are more searches on the energy sector during fall than during the summer. Of course, the search volume can also change regarding the different years, so it's important to check that. Like I said, it was also the right moment to focus on the cheap energy segment. So we included in the semantic analysis new categories for all these type of keywords. You have an example here without the keywords, of course. I didn't mention it before, but our analyses were made in Dutch and French, and we worked closely with my colleague Doreen to be sure all the possibilities in both languages were found. Because sometimes the keyword can be very different in different languages, so it's very important to have someone that is a native speaker. Yeah, after the first analysis, we knew which keywords linked to the cheap energy were critical. It means with some interesting search volume, of course. In some cases, it was not possible to optimize pages, so we had to rework a bit the structure, so all the pages and their relation together, to be sure all the semantic fields, so the group of keywords, had an optimized page. I won't go into details, but globally, if you want to be visible on keywords like cheap energy, you need pages that mention it, and that shows to Google and other search engine that you are relevant for this keyword. It's as simple as that again, not really, but theoretically, it's as simple as that. Hello, Florian. As often, there was a lot of possibilities, but regarding the time we had before the start of the rebranding campaign, we had to prioritize the pages that will have the most results. Like I said, it was not central for the rebranding campaign, so we really had to choose. You can go to the next one, Hubert. To do that, we created an optimized and ideal structure that matched the new important keyword, without, of course, forgetting the new ones and the ranking we get thanks to the previous work. And with the help of Mega. I will explain that later, but the help of Mega was also very important. We created a structure file, you can see it in the screen, and we highlighted the red page that were critical to create before the launch, and the green one that were nice to have, but less important. I think prioritization is really important from the SEO because there are always a lot of things we can do, but we really need to choose where we can have an impact. So with the most important pages in mind, we proposed a full optimization of all the on-pages SEO and content parts. It's hard to give you a number of optimization, but it's a lot of small improvements on tens of URL. It is, again, not something really sexy or advanced per se, but it works and helps a lot the client to be sure everything is perfect before the launch. Yeah, so another thing we also proposed to Mega was to work on the FAQ. A lot of people have questions linked to the brand, how much the night tariff, for example, and a lot of different questions like that. With the awareness campaign, we knew this question could potentially grow. Happily, it is possible to take profits of a good FAQ page to help even more the users with questions. And a happy user, it's always better. Thanks to a specific code on the page, it is possible to gain more visibility in SERP for this question. And we have an example in the next slide. It's an example in French that shows sometimes when you type this query. It could be improved always, but it works well and it's really nice for the user. They can have directly some answers. Some could say that you could lose user on your website. But in my opinion, if you quickly and easily give them the right answer, they will come back when it's the right time and they won't be frustrated to look in different pages to find what they want. So yeah, the number of clicks in the Search Console, if you're used with the tool, showed that this optimization wasn't used at all and that really a lot of people clicked on these results. Yeah, optimizing some pages, adding a bit more text, maybe optimizing the internal links. Everything seems easy, but it was absolutely not the case. All the keywords linked to the cheap energy USP were competitive. Most of the linked keywords showed a comparison intention, because when you type cheap energy, you probably want to see multiple price and compare them. The complexity lies in the fact that a lot of good comparison websites exist, and to be honest, we can't do better than them. At least not quickly and not with a lot of effort that might not work the work. Mega have a comparison tool, but it's quickly ask email and it does not show a lot of competitor price. You have global price and that's already great, but it does not infer to the intention behind some request. Don't get me wrong, it answers to the mega goals in a really good way. So the tool is important and useful, but not to rank on these requests. And just to come back on why I'm so careful with the intention behind the keyword, I really like to repeat this my sentence that Google use when they talk about their mission is to give the most relevant and reliable information available. Because thinking about the users is very likely the first steps of the SEO. In this case, we knew that it was hard to propose better content than on the website. Again, I repeat it because it's important. It was hard to do it quickly and considering the time we had, because it's always possible. So you can go to the next one. With all of that, it seems you can do a lot thanks to the SEO and optimization. In fact, in a purely organic way, it could be true. So bye-bye, thanks for coming, and you should never invest in SEO again. Of course, I'm joking. You can go to the next one, because that's where the link between SEO and SEA takes place. In a lot of situations, relationship between SEO and SEA is a bit complex. If you're an SEO, you know what is it to see them have results quickly when we are working on the long terms and yes, sometimes struggling. But if we get out of this sterile competition way of thinking, all the SEO work can have a strong impact on the paid search campaign. First, the semantic analysis already highlighted every important keyword, and that was a lot work less for Arthur, our SEA consultant. Furthermore, we continually discussed together during a different step, and especially during the development of the ideal structure. So at each step, we worked to be sure the SEO and the SEA could work smoothly together. And trust me, it's not always the case. So we, for example, we also help them for the copy of some ads to be sure their content match perfectly the keyword and the landing pages. All these things seems to be a lot of time, but in reality, it helped to optimize the quality score of the existing pages and to get directly a great quality score on the new pages. For such a big campaign, and also as a lot of ads are still running right now, a good quality score means lower cost and higher ranks. So everything you want, finally, for a campaign. I know a lot of you maybe already know what quality score is, but here is a quick definition. Thanks, Arthur, again for that. Quality score is Google's rating of the quality and the relevance of both your keywords and ads. And different other factors that are listed just here. It is used to determine your cost per click, so how much you pay each time someone is clicking on one of your ads, and your ad rank. So it determines if you appear at the beginning of the page or at the bottom, and it can change a lot of things. All the lines in green are things on which our SEO work had a real impact. Don't get me wrong, the work of Arthur was also great. So the results are really linked to the teamwork and not only on the SEO, but the impact was really strong. Just to give you a global view on some keyword fields where the optimization has a real impact, you can see the quality score before the launch of the optimization and just after. And we can go into many details like conversion and money and so on, but you can see that the quality score evolved really well after all the work we done. I will also give you just one quick example of one keyword because I know people love numbers. And this keyword is comparateur énergie. It's really competitive. And you can see that the landing page score evolved after the optimization without changing directly the quality score in this case, but it has a strong impact on the CPC, so on the price you pay. It only changed by 30 cents. That seems ridiculous, but on more than 250 clicks, it is already a bigger amount. And you really need to keep in mind that it's only one keyword on hundreds of keywords. And that's not necessarily one of the best. We also had great results on keywords like prix du kilowatt, tarif électricité, électricité moins chère, welke like energie, energieprijzen vergelijken, and so on. So yeah, a lot of keywords worked very well. And as I said it earlier, a lot of these keywords are still running right now. And sometimes with a bit more of optimization after the launch, everything was even better in January. So the amount of money and the run gain is really wonderful. So it's the end of this chapter. Maybe if you have some question, I can.
We had one question about achat groupé, so group share purchasing. I would just, I think it's indeed one of the strategy of Mega. It's one of the multi-channel strategy that Gaetan explained in the beginning. Sure that Mega is always are very well positioned in the price. So that's one of the strategy. And the second one from Quentin, it is part of the next steps I would say for the content marketing. So let's discuss it now, Quentin.
Yeah, I will repeat myself a bit, but anyway, it's important. Yes, I think it's always needed. Honestly, even with the latest evolution and all the algorithms and so on, like I said, the mission of Google is really to give the most relevant and reliable information, and that's not a lie. Even if at the end they want money, they want people click on ads and so on. At least in the organic, they really want to show the best information, so the people come back in the search engine. So yeah, with a good content strategy, we can be sure to have answers to all different questions. And if you take time to look at the different SERP, you can see that more and more we have questions. For example, in the people also ask, I will repeat it after, but you have really questions that are listed in the SERP. In the SERP, all these questions are linked to real people. And if you have a blog with answer to this question, you can attract a lot of traffic. So yeah, I really think it's important. Do you need to publish it every week? No, honestly, no. It really depends on your business, because every week it's a lot of time, and it can be really hard to have ID for content to publish every week. I would say if you have as long as the content is relevant and useful, publish it, and you can publish it every 2 weeks, every month. It depends on how much content you have, but it doesn't matter. Really, as long as the content is important and useful for your business, do it. All right, so I will go to the next steps, and you will see that the content is one of the other things I have in mind. Really, for the next step, I see a lot of possible things. But in my opinion, one of the main priority will be to develop even more the FAQ. Not only on the brand searches, but also on more general question. If you are familiar with the SERP, like I said, you know that question take an important place in the SERP. You have the people also ask that shows the question related to the keyword you've typed. You probably already see it, so I won't go into details, but all these questions are a gold mine that can help you to develop a more advanced FAQ strategy. Of course, another thing is the structured data. They are really important, and even if we use them in the FAQ, like I said in the last part, we could also try to use more of these ones. They are critical as they can change the way a result appear in the SERP, but also because they help the search engines to better understand the purpose of a page. We sometimes think that the search engine understand what we say, but even with all the last algorithm and so on, they sometimes struggle because I think it's more than half of the requests are always new, so they are really struggling. And all these structured data, small line of code we can add in a page, they help the search engines. So it's really important. And to give you an example, I think we could develop more the review and use a specific structured data that shows a small star from 1 to 5 in the SERP. It seems a small thing, but it can have a strong impact on the CTR in the SERP. So there is never a useless thing to do. And finally, of course, we started to work on the French market, and it is something totally new with different keywords. They have totally different way to ask questions for the search engine, and it's an even more competitive market. So it will be a big work and really important for Mega. So it's really my priorities for the next year, I will say. And after that, I think it can be useful to conclude with some key takeaway on what we learned thanks to the work we've done with this campaign. First, you really need to think about the customers. I've already said, but sometimes we forget it. A good semantic analysis will already help you to discover the possibilities, but after that, you still need to propose optimized pages. You will never rank organically on a page if you do not propose a relevant and reliable content. Also, you really need to forget what you think about what people are searching. If you do the work for your own company, you might have some strong bias that you need to fight, and you really need to come back to the basics. Yeah, that's really the first thing to keep in mind. Also, the preparation is the key. It is an easy one, clearly, but in this case, Mega contacted us a long time before the launch of the campaign. We had really the time to work, to discuss, to propose implementation, to polish everything. You can have magic results if you can take time. And to be honest, the results were that positive in SEO because they were positive also a bit less, but and SEA, it was because we had the time to optimize. And for such a big campaign with a lot of budget, I think it's really critical. Finally, another easy one is the importance of the teamwork. Like I said, we worked closely together at each step with Arthur, so our SEA consultant. That might seem simple, but not that much. Everyone is used to work on a small expertise, and you sometimes need to force you to take time and to go into a meeting room to discuss what are the next steps and what we still need to improve. The teamwork is also important with the customer. Even if we worked for Mega, they never let us down, and we worked closely together. When you have a digital agency, they can help you to do a lot of things. But you still need to help them with your business view or the implementation or the recommendation and so on. Again, the results were also strongly linked to this good collaboration. Really, I'm sure about that. And that's important to keep in mind if you want one day to work with an agency. Finally, and it's more a reminder, but SEO is an ever-changing expertise. Some optimization proposed a year ago can become useless today. I'm not free to say that. Sometimes I propose things that change, and I need to come back and think again. Google and other search engines, they propose new things all the time, and you need to think about it if you want to stay at the top of the game. Of course, you need to think about this evolution critically, because sometimes new stuff is not always really useful, and yeah. It will not change your ranking, but that's really another story. That was really globally my key takeaway. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I will let Hubert continue to see if you have any other questions.
Thanks, Valentin, for this knowledge sharing and your takeaways. There's one question from Tanguy about languages and the use of content. So I would let you check the question on the chat, and if you want to, you can answer it, or I can do it.
I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but for the question from Tanguy, the language is really important because the people they look after keywords in their own language. So ranking on English keywords in Belgium, it depends on the sector again, but for energy it's useless because most of the people are working in their own language. If we were in a more B2B sector, for example, it happens that English keywords are important because people are looking in English. But in this case, yes, we really had to put all the efforts on the French and the Dutch, because it's really how the people are looking for electricity provider in the search engines. And for the remark of Quentin, yeah, it's we know it because we do it on a daily basis. It's hard, but it worth the work to have a good content strategy, because it, for most of our clients, when we take the time to do it, we can see great result on great keywords. And all these people coming, they convert, they will contact you, they will buy your product and so on. So it works the work.
Yeah, thanks, Corentin, for your question. I will just precise, Tanguy, that if we need to choose one language on one page. So it's for sure you can't have optimization for French or English or Dutch and English on one page. It's one page per language. And for example, for Mega, there is the website, the Belgian website and the French. It's both in French, but we don't use the same content because we have to adapt based on the local market. And also with Google, we can have a technical markup from Google that this is the content in French for Belgium, this is the content in French for France, this is the content in Dutch for Flanders, and you could have other languages as well on top of that. So here we have, I would say, 2-3 languages with Mega, but we can have 40 languages, and so it can be a bit more tricky. It's always the same case that you need to choose, I would say, your duo of language and location. If you have other questions, we can still answer it, but I had one for you, Gaetan. Is what's the biggest challenge for Mega regarding SEO today and for the future?
Yeah, so what is the biggest challenge today? As Corentin said, SEO is moving very quickly. SEO, SEA, they're moving very quickly. We see developments several times per year. So the challenge is to keep up with these challenges and to remain an expert within these. That's why the partnership between Universum and Mega is ongoing, is because we continuously need their input of what is changing. And we want to stay at the level that we are today. We see great returns from the efforts we put into these campaigns. And the aim is to stay at that level, and why not do even better. And today the Belgian website is very much optimized, and we're working on the French one. And we hope that we see the same results in France within the coming months.
Today we have discussed about SEO and SEA, but for sure offline marketing has a big impact for Mega as well. And how would you rate the impact of offline and online, and what's really the complementarity between both of them for a sector like Mega, where I would say 1 year ago you were not doing offline marketing, but now you are much more active on it, and it's a good thing I would in the growth of Mega, and your insight would be really valuable, Gaetan.
Yes, that's a very good question, Hubert. And I think most of the people who are listening to this conference can relate to this. To speak more specifically about an energy supplier, we reach out to anyone who is between 18 years old and 100 years old, or even further. So it's almost the whole population. Anyone who is an adult who owns a house or rents a house is possibly a customer of yours. And some of these people are very digital minded, perhaps the more younger generations, and some of them are less digital minded. And you need to use both tools, offline and offline, to be able to reach out to everyone. Through offline, you can use radio, you can use leaflets, journal articles, other things, and you're creating awareness with this. And those people will start looking for, hey, I heard of Mega on the radio, I saw you on a leaflet, hey, what's this? And then they start looking on the internet, and then we're able to track them, and hopefully we can pull them from that offline world all the way to our website, to the online world, and ultimately, of course, convert these people. And I think that's a challenge that we're all seeing in very different industries. Is maybe we're really strong digitally, but how do we work with the offline world, or opposite? We're really strong with the offline, and how can we improve our online to create more conversions, more awareness, or other targets?
Thanks, Gaetan. So far, I have the impression that we have no more questions, so I think it's time to conclude. I would like first to thank you, Gaetan and Corentin, for your time to share the partnership and the collaboration and the challenges we have in the SEO of Mega. Also, would like to thank all of us and all of you who attended the webinar. And I invite you to come to the last session of the next week. It will be on Friday, sorry, but guest speaker, Pascal Grimm from Germany, is doing it on a Friday at 11 a.m. And it will be about technical SEO for e-commerce. So it will be an advanced talk with a great personality, with elected third personality of the year in Europe. So it's really a well-known guy in SEO, and it will be another advanced sessions for you. So looking forward to meet you next week, and I wish you all a very nice day.